Welcome to the show. I'm Lynn Tai. This show explores the journey from made in Vietnam to Vietnam on the world stage.
We get to a milestone together, and then we take the time to revisit all the moments together.
It's exceeded our wildest dreams.
Even after the hack, they are still focused on their goal and continue building.
We keep up the progress and the quality of the work we are doing to deliver even better in the future.
At the heart of today's conversation is a powerful question. What is the growth formula that transformed a blockchain game into a global infrastructure serving tens of millions worldwide? Hello, how are you?
Hi, Chi. Nice to meet you today.
Great to see you.
So glad to welcome you to SkyMovies office.
Great.
Sure.
Trung Nguyen. CoinDesk named him one of the top 10 most influential people in crypto in 2021, alongside Elon Musk and Vitalik Buterin. At his core, though, Trung is a gamer, an engineer who once hated blockchain but set out to build something fun, a bridge to help people understand tech and finance. He's naturally quiet but fiercely competitive. From the ICPC International Programming Contest to hackathons, he's tested himself on global stages. And in Axi's early days, he was the same person patiently answering thousands of community questions one by one. He also had a unique pull, enough to bring together 4 co-founders, including 2 who left the US and Norway to join him in Vietnam. 5 individuals, like 5 decentralized nodes, laying the foundation for Sky Mavis to go global. I'd like to start with your mindset as a founder. A lot of founders think about starting a company and they think, well, let me start it in my home country and then build the product up to a point where you're strong enough to go regionally and internationally. But with you, it seems like you've had a global mindset from the start. What is your thinking on that?
Well, I actually have a technical background. So after my last startup, I thought if I have an idea, I wanted to start globally so that I can take advantage of the online presence more. At one point, I was browsing around, like Product Hunt, for example. I got on to Product Hunt every day just to find new ideas to pursue. And I thought that, well, there were some cool ideas, but I didn't set my foot on any of them until one day that I started with blockchain. As you might know, blockchain is very global. I mean, you started with a distributed workforce. You have a lot of talent all around the world, and you also interact with the user base globally. So that's a great start for us to start as a global company.
Building a global company out of just a simple computer game? Why not? In late 2017, a small game called CryptoKitties froze Ethereum in its tracks. A year later, the crash hit. Blockchain's market cap fell more than 80% from its $830 billion peak. That crypto winter forced many to walk away. But in every downturn, someone sees an opening. For Trung Nguyen, that spark became Axie Infinity.
So one day I read a headline about a game called CryptoKitties, and it really caught my attention. I looked forward, go through like all the friction of crypto onboarding. I was trying to use my credit card to buy my first crypto and try out the game CryptoKitties for the very first time. And I was hooked because before that I thought blockchain was all about like financial numbers, like all boring numbers. I mean, I worked at some fintech companies before, and to me, I mean, when you have to deal with numbers every day, it's not really interesting. But to me, when you combine the blockchain technology with gaming, something that I feel in love with for long, since I was a child, I was really hooked, and I decided to give it a go. So the idea of Axie Infinity and later on Sky Mavis came from that moment.
From the outside, I see a company that's growing super fast, right? In 3 years, you have a global product, $3 billion valuation. Was that your goal from the beginning? Or do you think maybe a little bit of luck played into it?
Not at all. I didn't think about all of that at the beginning. I think it could be as well a multi-year journey for sure. That's the amount of hard work and dedication that I'm willing to put in. But one thing leads to another. I didn't expect everything right at the start. At the beginning, I think there was only like several thousands of users in the whole industry of Web3 gaming. But when COVID came, that changed like dramatically the whole industry because right, people have time, people have the money. We made a lot of presence in Philippines around that time because right, people cannot go to work, they cannot feed their families. So they wanted to find something fun to enjoy, but at the same time they wanted to right, at least make some money to put the food on the table. So there was a lot of word of mouth at the time that got access to many people. We even anticipated the growth of our user base. So we prepared the server for much more users. But despite of that, we were still late by, I think, 10 days. So our servers were like down for the most part for 10 days. But we like started preparing like several months beforehand. And also the models, right? How do we make sure we engage people and give them the rewards when they put the time into the game? That was also what we prepared for. So yeah, I would say a combination of luck and
lots
good
of preparation. Yes, great. I see this meteor rise, but with most successful companies now, if you talk to any of the founders, they'll say there were moments where we were about to go under. They were very difficult moments, but you got through it, and now the company is great. Mm-hmm. Did you experience any moments like that?
For sure. I mean, I was a startup guy before, right, a blockchain guy. I'm very into startup, building companies, making an impact. And as weird as it is, I always have some, right, of my own definition about what a startup life could look like 7 to 10 years of startup journey, for example. I also think about startup as something, right, if you want to get to the ultimate success, you might need to go through a challenge or like very hard challenge. I think 7 times. I don't know how I get that number.
7 times?
Yeah, maybe one challenge for each year.
That sounds painful.
But that's how you right, evolve yourself through tough times. Mm-hmm. And for sure we have moments like that. There was a lot of ups and downs along the journey of Axie Infinity and Sky Mavis, for sure.
What about when you got hacked? How did you get through that?
That's a big moment. I mean, we kind of got over it now in a hard way. Because, I mean, even though we got through it, managed to reimburse and make users whole, it's still an experience that I don't want to get again, for sure. I think it was, at least for me, it was an easy decision to reimburse the users because to me, if we want to continue on this journey, if we want to maintain the reputations that we have, if we want to get the faith from the users and continue building products, releasing and capturing the market, we need to do the right thing, right? We need to make sure that people believe in us for the long term. So we made that decision and we are proud about it. I think the consequence after that was what we need to face, right? How do we make a comeback? How do we recapture the market? How do we grow from there with, for sure, like a less pocket compared to what we had before. And I think overcome all of that requires a lot of focus from the team, from the whole company. And not only that I'm proud of this season, I'm also proud of the effort and achievement that our team has put.
It was the shock that nearly ended it all, the $600 million hack. For most companies, that would have been game over. For Sky Mavis, it became a turning point. They learned to manage risk, build resilience, and came back stronger. And when they refunded players in full, it wasn't just about returning money. It was about proving something bigger, trust. And in tech, trust is priceless.
They're really pioneers in the game, what they're doing. the solutions they have about Web3, all that kind of amazing. I started to have some scholarships of myself. So it has definitely been great to be a part of it.
That's a good part of growing so fast, but they listen, so every idea, a good idea can come from everywhere, and that just makes the project even better. We build the future. This is the change. This is the change we need.
Because blockchain isn't just numbers on a screen. It can connect with real human emotion, turning play, effort, even joy into something of value. With Axie Infinity, digital ownership unlocked a whole new kind of economy. From the beginning, Sky Mavis thought global, and Vietnam showed it could stand tall on the world stage.
When we had this big vision, and now it's really amazing to see how big the company has become, how many strong people we have working here. We're on the bleeding edge not only of gaming, but also finance. And there's also a social level here.
I think I'm most proud that 50% of our player base has never used or interacted with crypto before, and 25% do not have a bank account. So I think that really demonstrates how we're getting crypto into the hands of the people who really need it most, and that we aren't just catering to the same audience as the rest of the space.
In a young industry like blockchain, Vietnam holds a rare advantage. A young population that's quick to adapt to technology. Web3 here isn't just about creativity, it's a lever to accelerate the digital economy and a way for Vietnam to be part of the global conversation.
One of the thoughts that I had at the beginning of our startup journey, I wanted to do this because it's a new industry. It evens the playing field. So if we want to compete against all the top teams in the world, we would be able to do so. We don't have much disadvantage just because we are from Vietnam. It's actually help us, right? Because we might have different mindset compared to other teams.
In 2024, Vietnam named blockchain as one of its 11 strategic national technologies built on 3 pillars: digital assets, infrastructure, and traceability. And Sky Mavis, even in the middle of crisis back in 2022, they pushed forward. Sky Mavis seized the moment to build the Ronin network and kept their place at the forefront of global blockchain gaming. Earlier we talked about how Sky Mavis seemed to come out of nowhere. $3 billion valuation in 3 years. Internally, you saw there was momentum. Things were growing, things were moving, but momentum comes from action. Right, so can you tell us about some of the things you did to really take advantage and to seize the opportunity that you saw was coming your way?
So there was some early signs, some early signals that we can lean on in order to get to know the opportunities even before they arise. And that's why we was able to prepare a little bit beforehand. As I mentioned earlier, when COVID hit, right, people have a natural tendency to play games at home. And that's when Axie Infinity really took off. And we thought about that. We thought about our effort spending on Axie Infinity. What else can we do to take advantage of that exact moment? And when we see the crypto industry, it's actually very seasonal, right? You have 4 years every Bitcoin cycle. You have 3 years of bear market that you focus on building, optimizing the team, really innovating so that you can come out in the 1 year of bull market with a lot of new things, new development. And when we see the crypto industry that way, right, we know what to do exactly in different cycle, in different situations of the market. So in that year, 2021, we managed to secure 2 funding rounds to scale the team, scale the operations. We did some hiring to make sure that we have enough talent to scale the product development. And that was also when we started building our Ronin and get Ronin out the door to scale not only Axie Infinity, but also create the playbook for others, game partners to come later.
So you mentioned Ronin. A lot of game developers, when they have a hit game, they'll create more games. But you decided to go the blockchain network route. Instead of creating more games, you created an entire network. What was the thinking behind that?
So we actually developed several games in-house. So it's not only we focus on the network play. When we compare the Web3 gaming industry with the traditional gaming industry, we lack a lot of foundational tools and support. We don't have the art network. We don't have user acquisition as skill. We still have to rely on influencer marketing, for example. So it's hard to build our games on the blockchain just because of the technical difficulties. So we actually found ourselves spending like 2/3 of our time building tools and platform instead of focusing on building out the game. It's the very first version of Axie Infinity. So we thought it could be the case for everyone. When they want to come and use the blockchain technology, when they want to build out something like games that requires a lot of real-time interactions, they would struggle because the tools were very primitive and they have to build out basically everything. And that means less time to focus on building the real product that matters, the games. So we thought that could help any other teams that when they want to do the same as Axie Infinity, when they want to build a blockchain game, a Web3 game, they could take advantage of our technical stack. And we make it into a platform, a network, which is called Ronin, that could benefit other game partners.
Well, have you thought about going the marketplace route, where you would be the center of commerce on a blockchain?
That's a good question. It was always the plan. Because when you think about blockchain gaming, you think about real economy. You think about the true ownership of game items and characters, The users, they own the assets. Think about digital assets that people own and are able to trade with each other. So it's own way an economy, it's own way a marketplace since the beginning. And our marketplace, even though it only served Axie at the beginning, have generate more than 4.3 billion in USD in volume to date.
Web 2 was built on ads and on centralized control. Web 3 flips that around. It's decentralized. Here, players aren't just customers, they're owners. They're part of the digital economy itself. Axie lit the first spark of that revolution. And the Ronin network, that's the next step. It is the infrastructure that allows Web3 games to break out and scale, built on an ecosystem that's already proven it can work. And the numbers tell the story. 71 games on Ronin, $4.2 billion in marketplace volume, 31 million wallets downloaded, $45 million in NFT trades. Let's go back to the business model. When Axie Infinity first started taking off, the model was play to earn. Now, since that model has run its course, what's the new model? Which direction are you heading in?
We have experimented with many different models. Play to earn, play to own, play and own, for example, to emphasize the ownership of in-game assets that people have, so that they don't understand wrongly about the narrative. But mechanically speaking, behind the scene, it's own way about user acquisition. So to us, together with changing the narrative, we also want to optimize the model. It's a very hard task, because we join hands in creating the whole industry. Now we want to revolutionize it again to make sure that it becomes something scalable business models. Nowadays, we experiment more with games that give people some speculative value, people that enjoy the thrilling of, let's say, opening a secret box so that they can find the characters that they love from the box, or give people the items that they might find appealing because there's some social reputations that comes together with owning the items. So basically creating more intrinsic value from acquiring, owning the in-game items and characters, so that people are willing to pay for it rather than just coming to the game, putting some money in, expecting more money in return, So we are changing from that model, but instead of saying that, right, we change the name, we change the model completely. We look at the inherent value that we can provide to the users and see how we can optimize that to make sure that we give people the value that they want. We tried a little walk and then enjoy the weather outside.
Great idea. Let's do it.
Okay.
Wow, it's a great view.
It's always refreshing to see this view after a long day at work.
Yeah, definitely. So I'd like to talk a little bit about scaling. Right, so to really grow a company, you have to start with yourself. Right, so how did you grow yourself so quickly?
That's a question that I ask myself very frequently. I actually learned it the hard way. I didn't know it at first. And I always spent a lot of effort on growing the company. And at one point I was fighting with it. But then I found out, it's just start from myself first. That's when I started working on myself. So making sure that I spend the time on the most important things for the companies instead of just jumping right into all the problems that I see immediately. Making sure that I unlock the most out of people. Making sure that I train myself to be mentally prepared for different situations. Making sure that I improve my speaking so that I can transfer the knowledge and also speak about the visions to all the employees. I think all of that is very important in being a leader for a company. And when I was hitting a ceiling for myself, just by spending too much time on the company, that's when I thought I needed to change.
So are there any tips that you can provide to other CEOs? What can they do to keep this mindset?
I think revising every day is the biggest value you can give to yourself. It will be hard at first, but if you keep thinking about what you do wrong, not wrong, but at least what you can do to optimize yourself to take a better use of your time, it's the core of everything. So revising, reflection, and do it every day.
So let's talk a little bit more macro. Where do you see the industry going? How do you scale within the industry?
It's a very interesting question. So actually, I think 1 year ago, I anticipated that it could take longer for the whole industry to recognize tokens as a long-term kind of investment assets, right? The financial industry, as we see 1 year ago, is very different when it comes to crypto adoption. So token holdings companies, for example, it was not an attention 1 year ago. We had no legal framework. We had no proper valuation method to make sure that we get the token holding company to public. But we have more of them nowadays, starting with MicroStrategy, and it becomes a playbook for others to follow. Right now, people see tokens as a form of investment, and it's actually more publicly accessible to the retail investor, people who come from the traditional finance side. And with the adoption from institutions, ETF, and token holdings, public token holding company, I think we will see more adoption in the future. What we are missing right now is how to make sure we accrue enough business value to the token for the long term. I think we'll see even more development over the next 2 years. And the fact that I made that anticipation several years for token holding companies to mature and get accepted by the financial market, the fact that we have it only after 1 year, it's tremendous development.
Things are definitely moving very quickly.
Yeah.
Based on your record of planning for the future, it seems like you're planning to be in the fintech space?
Yeah, so it's an interesting story because in 2021, we managed to onboard many, we call them non-crypto native people that they don't even have a bank account beforehand, but just with a smartphone, they can have the crypto wallet, So digital wallet to some extent. They play the game, they have a history of spending, they have their own credit score, the on-chain financial system. So I see it as it's we skip a step of traditional
Leapfrog
financing,
over.
and leave over the adoption of finance and banking tools for people in emerging markets. And we hope to do more of that. I think that's where we see the beauties of blockchain and crypto in general. We can unlock financial capabilities for many people, even though they don't have access to the traditional tools beforehand.
So you see the industry as a whole growing incredibly fast. Let's talk a little bit about the industry in Vietnam. Where is blockchain going in Vietnam, and what do you see as the direction for Vietnam's creative game developers?
This is a topic that I like a lot, and I think we have got a great opportunities. We have a lot of regulatory development in the recent month to put for startups and technology development. And I think right now the government places a lot of focus on supporting the startups and also SMEs. So that bring us to the questions whether we want to grow more in Vietnam and also seize the opportunities. I think the answer is yes, even though right now it's still unclear, how the full regulatory framework will develop. But it's interesting opportunities. I think with this, Vietnam have the chance to outgrow other countries in the regions, because I see startup innovations and VC investment as well as one of the best factors to grow tremendously out of the normal kind of growth capacity. So I'm looking forward to that and hoping to give back more to Vietnam.
So I wanted to ask Sky Mavis, you are headquartered in Singapore with offices in several different countries, with majority of employees here in Vietnam. Do you plan on keeping it like that, or any thoughts about where the majority of your workforce will be into the future?
There have been a lot of trade-off with that setup. I think communication, people coming from different backgrounds, how do we align them? So diversity, but also alignment. I think in the future we want to do more in Vietnam, for sure. And the fact that we have a big workforce here helps a lot. But we also want to import the talent from outside of Vietnam to make sure that we bring the most critical experience to help grow the team here. So just yesterday, we welcomed a VP of security from the US to come and live in Vietnam. And it was a great adventure because he came here with only one suitcase, for living in Vietnam. And I hope to do more of that, getting the teams to come to Vietnam, not only to enjoy it, but also to bring their expertise so that we can grow more as a country.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing your journey with us. I look forward to seeing more great things from Sky Mavis.
For sure, it's my pleasure to welcome you in this office. Hope you'll visit us more often.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today as we explore the blockchain industry in Vietnam. See you again next time.